I'm Peter Nicholson, Game Director for Hearts of Iron. Today I'm going to guide you through the final country showcase video before Götterdämmerung drops, and you can experience all of this firsthand. Let's take a look at Germany's alt history. As you may have noticed, the alt history branch has been significantly expanded, offering a wider range of playstyles for Germany. One thing that hasn't changed though is the Civil War. Early on, we made a clear choice not to expand or alter this part too much. Our thinking was that for those exploring alt history, you'd want the Civil War to start and end quickly, so it's still very direct and to the point. Before we dive into the different political paths, let's first touch on the few Civil War-focused elements that remain. With the war tearing Germany apart, you can rally the nation to bring down the Nazis faster and rebuild the nation to help your industries recover, which can then be expedited with revitalize the nation. All of this should bolster Germany and help it recover quickly to move on to other things, such as tending to the future and deciding what kind of politics you wish to pursue. The democratic and monarchist branches share a lot of focuses. This means you can take an aggressive approach as democratic Germany or become the protector of Eastern Europe as the Kaiser, resisting Soviet aggression. This offers a few different playstyles, but it's also grounded in history. After the Great War, Germany never ratified its eastern borders set by the Versailles Treaty, a situation that persisted until 1970. Even during the Weimar Republic era, there was a desire to reclaim these territories. You'll have ways to regain these lost lands, but first let's explore what sets a democratic Germany apart from a revived Kaiserreich. The democratic branch focuses on cooperation, reconciliation, and technological progress. After re-establishing free elections, you can become a technological leader, improve relations with Western neighbours, and emerge as a shining beacon of democracy. You can reverse the brain drain to boost research and use shared R&D programs to speed up innovation. Strengthening ties with Western neighbours can increase trade or even help reclaim old colonies. Your choice between embrace liberal leanings and strive for conservative values will either reduce the cost of political advisors and laws, or make both political and military visors, as well as conscription law, more affordable. Ultimately, cooperation and reconciliation lead to greater technological advancements and trade opportunities. With Götterdämmerung, you can now choose between two forms of authoritarianism: the rule of Wilhelm II or a military dictatorship with Wilhelm III as a figurehead, while the Fourth Supreme Army Command holds the real power. This mirrors history, as the Army Command was the de facto authority in the late Great War. Each path offers exclusive focuses. The Kaiser emphasizes research and special projects, while the Army Command focuses on preparing for war and strengthening the military. In both cases, there's a strong drive to rearm, reclaim lost territory, and seek vengeance. After having chosen your leader and political course, it's time to rebuild. Mitteleuropa, meaning Middle Europe, has historically referred to Central Europe, but its definition has shifted throughout the ages. It isn't just a geographical term, it's also political, envisioning a German-dominated region where countries are tied to or ruled by Germany. By following this path, you can achieve exactly that. After the Civil War, you stand alone. But here you can form your own alliance. You'll also decide how to handle Austria, invite them into your faction, or push for unification, possibly handing over Burgenland to Hungary to entice them into Mitteleuropa. From there, you must choose whether to restore the central powers, with Austria and Hungary depending on your earlier choice, or to unify as much of Europe under your leadership as possible. Strengthening your allies until you can form the European Confederation. But what if you decide not to seize other nations? Surely someone else will. The USSR is likely to turn its gaze toward the countries between you, much like in real history. And who will stop them? With Germany weakened by civil war, you can't hope to protect Eastern Europe. Their fate seems sealed. The Soviets will take over with ease. But you can still try to help. Offer guarantees. Build forts, boost their industries and train their militaries. There's even a chance to invite them into your faction and strengthen their economies further. If you don't want to play nice, there are options for that as well. Historically, at the end of the Great War, Germany signed a separate peace agreement with Russia known as the Treaty of Brest-Litovsk. The treaty cost Russia a third of its population and over 50% of its industrial land, a significant loss. However, the Treaty of Versailles annulled this agreement, turning those territories into independent nations. In Götterdämmerung, you have the opportunity to restore these borders and reclaim German honor. Weltpolitik, meaning world politics, was the imperial foreign policy under Wilhelm II, aimed at turning Germany into a global power. There are two main ways to reclaim this status. You can either accept British naval dominance and negotiate to regain your old colonies, or you can go to war for what you believe is rightfully yours. A third option is to align closely with China, providing industrial and military support to strengthen them, ultimately carving up Asia into spheres of influence. The focus, carving up Congo, a proposition that doesn't seem appealing to the British, has, surprisingly, historical roots. British Prime Minister Neville Chamberlain once suggested to Hitler that they divide Congo as part of his appeasement strategy, hoping to placate Hitler's ambitions. While it may sound absurd, we found it a fascinating historical tidbit to include. If you believe the Treaty of Versailles was unfair, you can choose to reject the Locarno Treaty and reclaim Alsace-Lothringen. The Locarno Treaty was an agreement between Germany and several other nations to secure and guarantee Germany's post-World War I borders with France and Belgium. If you choose to restore the Kaiser from exile, or to establish a military dictatorship, you can first pressure Denmark to return southern Jutland, another territory lost under the Treaty of Versailles, before rejecting the Locarno Treaty and challenging France once more. This path is also available if you accept British naval dominance in the Weltpolitik branch, but with the condition that France must meet certain criteria, similar to the previous alt-historical branch. In the new focus tree for Germany, you now have the option to pursue a communist path. There are two approaches, one more aggressive, and the other, but neither is peaceful. By choosing the focus, start the Proletarian Revolution, the communist movement in Germany will begin to grow. The more states you spread the revolution to, the stronger the movement becomes, but this will also increase Germany's instability. Keep in mind that not all states are equal. Those with more industries can sway more workers to your cause, leading to a greater impact on stability and increased support for communism. If the imminent proletarian revolution timer reaches 0, the states where you've spread the uprising will join you in any resulting civil war. Fortunately, this civil war can be avoided if you strategize effectively. For each state you influence, you can add days to the countdown, postponing it. Completing certain focuses also helps extend this timer. It will be a race against time, but with careful planning, you should be able to succeed. As you emerge as a communist nation, there are ways to secure the revolution and spread it even further. If you're interested in turning other nations communist, this path is for you. You can bolster communist sentiment in other nations, eventually triggering a civil war in those countries. To ensure the revolution succeeds, you can supply equipment or send volunteer forces to assist in the conflict. Completing Spark the Flames of Revolution will establish your own faction, the Proletarian International. With Strengthen the Proletarian International, you'll automatically invite any nation you've helped turn communist into your new faction, preventing the Soviets from expanding the Comintern. If you aim to spread communism beyond Europe, you'll need to root out imperialism and foster resistance and autonomy in African and Asian nations under colonial rule. From there, you can share Marxist ideals in South America or the Middle East. before confronting the forces of capitalism, particularly in the United States, as well as the remnants of corporatism in Japan. The German Communist movement and the German Communist Party traced their roots to the Spartacus League, a breakaway faction of the Social Democrats. Founded by Karl Liebknecht and Rosa Luxemburg, both assassinated during the Spartacist uprising in 1919, the League was anti-militarist. Luxemburg advocated for using democratic institutions to gain power, while Liebknecht championed the Proletarian Revolution. This history is reflected in the exclusive communist national spirit of the Politburo. Honoring the legacy of the Spartacus League emphasizes the revolution's spread and the importance of embracing democratic institutions, culminating in a brand new type of subject unique to this path. By spreading communism to neighboring countries, you can subjugate them to protect the revolution, after you embrace democratic institutions and protect civil liberties. This in turn will let you create Volkskommissariats out of these neighbors. The Volkskommissariats will give you a higher percentage of their industries and manpower. You can also choose to develop the Volkskommissariat industry, which in the end will boost your own production. You can also help instill German discipline in your subjects to make them a more effective fighting force. And in the end, you can choose to integrate any Volkskommissariat and create the German Socialist Volksunion. The proletarian dictatorship path shares some similarities with other branches, especially in terms of your ability to conquer multiple nations. This branch is a little more straightforward compared to the legacy of the Spartacus League, which focuses on setting up Volkskommissariats. Here, your approach is simpler. You apply superior military force to subdue other countries. However, before you embark on your world-conquering journey, you'll first need to sign a defense treaty with the Soviets. This treaty will establish mutual guarantees, ensuring you both have each other's backs. Once that's sorted, the next step is to carve Europe into spheres of influence. This means you'll divide the continent into your respective territories, giving you control over the West while allowing the Soviets to manage the East. While this division can be exciting, it also adds a layer of complexity to your conquests, as it becomes more challenging to take control of any state located within the Soviet sphere of influence. Overall, this path emphasizes a more aggressive approach to expanding your ideology across Europe. As you explore the various alt history paths available in the new focus tree for Germany, you have the power to shape the nation's future. Whether you decide to pursue democratic reforms, restore the Kaiser, or ignite a communist revolution, each choice comes with its own set of challenges and rewards. Keep your strategies sharp, make smart alliances, and get ready to take Germany in the direction you want. This is the last country showcase before the release of Götterdämmerung. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.